Hello and welcome to the channel. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Now we are going to be watching a little video, reacting to it. I've seen the video already. I guess I'm just gonna give you my commentary, not much reacting to it. But yeah, what's funny is under like the headlines at the very bottom of the news feed, there's actually another story that I will also be covering, which is crazy. I'm gonna try to see if I can minimize that window and try to see if I can get it. Okay, there it is. All right, so let me disappear real quick. So spoiler alert, this is what I'm gonna be covering next. Flash mob thieves ransacking Nike store in southern LA. So that's gonna be in the next coverage. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with that video. Either it's gonna be a short video or it's gonna be a full-length video. I don't know. I haven't decided. But we're gonna be covering this one right now. And it says investigation underway after a CHP shooting. So apparently this gentleman was walking in the freeway, I guess in the middle of the freeway, and you can see there's a little bit of a scuffle, and then the cop pulls out his weapon and fires one shot, misses, and then fire several more shots, and unaliving the person. So I wish we had a little bit more context and a little bit more footage so we can actually see what transpired. All it just from the video that we were seeing, it doesn't give you a little bit too much information to go upon, because whether the cop is correct or the person that's walking on the freeway. But my whole thinking is, if a person is walking in the freeway for no apparent reason, that they must be experiencing some sort of mental issues or something that's going on. So if you are a police officer, you're trained for these kind of situations, you need to figure out the best possible way to interact with that. But most police officers will try to find an alternative, and then some of them will just go to deadly force. We've seen countless amount of shooting where somebody is experiencing mental issues and they call the cops and ended up killing their family members or whatever, instead of trying to de-escalate the situation and finding an alternative means of restraining that person. They just they go straight to deadly force. So enough of me rambling on and on. So let's get to the video. And I know how YouTube is, so hopefully YouTube doesn't strike this video down, because they're notorious for doing this kind of shit. At least to me. But we'll see. Alrighty then, let's proceed. Let me turn down my...
Senators, council members, city council leaders, community members all put out this lengthy joint statement calling for peace during this investigation. And we do want to warn you, this video is disturbing, but we will pause it just before the shooting. Calls for peace from community leaders as this video is shared widely online. These are the moments before a deadly shooting on the 105 freeway in Willowbrook Sunday afternoon. The California Highway Patrol released a preliminary...
Yeah, but like I've stated early on in the video, we don't have a lot of context to go towards it. We just have the information that we see. And from what I've read about it to what I read just briefly about it, it's not like a whole... it wasn't really like a really long article that I read about it. But from what we see a police officer on top of a suspect, this scuffle going on. And then you see him getting up, pulling out his service weapons, fires one shot, misses, and then fires two more. And yeah, so that's what happened.
Report Monday night. It says around 3:30 Sunday afternoon, they got multiple calls about a person walking against traffic on the freeway. An officer approached him. Multiple attempts to persuade the man off the freeway failed, and that's when a scuffle ensued. CHP says the man used a taser against the officer, which is when the officer used their gun on the man, missing the first time, then firing 3 or 4 more rounds.
But my thing is, when it comes to when it comes to police policy, wouldn't you call a backup? You know what I mean? Like, isn't there some sort of a procedure for you to follow? You know what I mean? Because if a person is walking the wrong way in the freeway, for me, and I'm not a cop, I don't know, you know, I'm not trained. I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know anything, you know. But for me as a person, if a person is walking on the wrong side of the highway, my first thing is this guy must be experiencing some sort of mental issue. Something's going on. This person isn't right. So me as a person, or if I was a cop, I would call for backup. I would much rather have a little bit more backup. You know, there's two of us, three, whatever, to knowing that we can, you know, able to diffuse the situations. And you talk to him several times. Okay, so why didn't you, once your commands are not being, you know, listened to, so that obviously there's something wrong, you can then use your taser. You know, use the taser on him. Why would you start scuffling with this person, trying to subdue the suspect? Because I'll be honest, I'm not the strongest guy. And I'm not going to be able to judge how strong the other person is. Because some people can be skinny, but they can be strong as hell. So I'm not trying to go toe to toe with a person I don't know unless I have backup. I'm not doing it by myself. I'm not trying to put my life on the line like that. No way. No way. I would have waited for backup. I would have at least used non-threatening, use like a use the taser. If not, use the pepper spray. You know what I mean? Because people will comply if they got pepper spray in their eyes. They're going like this. You know what I mean? But there could have been other options for this CHP officer to go with. So obviously there's a lot of public outrage, completely understandable. But like I said, I just needed a little bit more context of exactly what happened. Like before this video started rolling, what happens before that? I mean, we got a little bit of it, but I would have loved to see more.
The Department of Justice is now investigating the use of force.
It looks bad. This is a person on his back.
Roger Clark is a former LA County Sheriff's deputy and a use of force expert. He says the witness cell phone video will be a key part of the investigation.
You do not engage with a subject, gun in hand, period. I mean, that is fundamental training, and he's on his back.
Now, see, this is where the expert kind of made a mistake, because if you see the video, let me see if I can rewind it. If you see the video, they were scuffling, right? They were scuffling.
A scuffle ensued.
And
CHP
then
says the man used a taser
and then
against the officer,
after that,
which is when the officer used their gun on the man.
After that, then the police officer draws his service weapons and fires. The first shot misses, but yeah, the expert kind of he didn't have his weapon with him. He didn't have his service weapon drawn. So in that, we're gonna disagree with this professional. The officer did not have his weapon drawn until supposedly he was tased, and then he pulled out his service weapon. But you know,
County Sheriff's deputy and a use of force expert. He says the witness cell phone video will be a key part of the investigation.
You do not engage with a subject, gun in hand, period. I mean, that is fundamental training, and he's on his back, and he gets up, and then he shoots. And so there has to be a credible threat. And my calculus is OC spray on an officer who's on his feet and can reposition is not a credible threat.
DOJ agents will consider the officer's statement, officer body camera video, witness statements, and ultimately make a ruling on whether the shooting was justified. And California Attorney General Rob Bonta is also conducting an independent review of that use of force incident. The victim has not yet been identified. I also reached out to all the members who released this call for peace to ask if there was some...
No peace. So those are just my thoughts. My whole thing is like we don't have a lot of context, but from what we saw, the officer was fighting with the suspect. Supposedly he got tased, and that's when he pulled out his service weapon and did what he had to do. But for me, if I was the officer, you know, I would have approached it a little bit differently, because if a person is walking on the, like I said, I've said it early on in the video, if a person is walking on the wrong side of the freeway, in the middle of the freeway, I would have thought like, hey, what's wrong with this guy? You know, there's people don't walk on the freeway. People don't do that. So there's got to be something wrong, right? And then you shoot him a couple of commands. He doesn't respond to your commands. And then you can, you know, call for a backup. And then once your backup arrives, and then, you know, use non-lethal force, taser, use your pepper spray. There's other means of, yeah. So I don't know. This could have been avoided, honestly. You guys seen from the video. That's why there's a lot of outrage. But, you know, it's not up to me to decide what you guys think. You guys are free to think whatever you want. I just provide you the information, you know, take it or leave it. But my whole thing is, I wish we had a little bit more context. We got a little bit of a context, you know, but I wish we had more on the video. Would have been more clear cut. See when the officer engaged with the suspect and how they got on the floor and how everything ended the way it did. I wish we can know that. But anyway, you guys let me know in the comments below. As always, like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.